Water and theme parks are intrinsically linked together. With log flumes, boat rides, rapids, and coasters, there's always something that will make a splash during your visit. In the heat of summer, they're a great way to cool off, but the best water rides are, of course, water coasters. These incredible rides combine the twists and turns of a roller coaster with a splashdown and soaking that you get on a log flume, and it's an awesome combination. Water coasters come in many different shapes and sizes, and today I'm going to showcase 7 of the best ones on the planet. Just before we get started though, I'd like to highlight the inspiration for this video, YouTube's Team Water campaign. This charity fundraiser aims to raise $40 million to give 2 million people access to clean water, a cause that will no doubt save lives but also improve the quality of life for millions of people around the world. All donations are meaningful no matter how small, and just spreading awareness helps. A single dollar can give one person access to clean water for a whole year. So no matter how small or large your donation is, it can genuinely make a difference. So please consider donating whatever you can afford by going to teamwater.org. Now let's look at some incredible water coasters. Pulsar. Pulsar is a wonderfully unique coaster, or at least it used to be until 4 other clones of it opened up worldwide. There's good reason for that though, as it's a brilliant ride. This was one of the first ever water coasters to feature multiple launches, 3 of them to be precise, with 2 of them sending you backwards. The ride reaches a top speed of 63 miles per hour and stands at an impressive height of nearly 150 feet. In addition to the launches, you also have 2 vertical rollbacks, which cause you to float weightlessly in your seat before you drop down back to Earth. The technology behind the ride is also very smart. You may be wondering how this boat can fly over the water at the start, but on the final run it splashes into the water. This is achieved by having powerful water pumps that fill the splash section with water just after the boat passes by, so you can get a lovely big splash to mark the end of the ride. It also features a turntable, so that this shuttle coaster can operate with 2 trains at once, despite running backwards and forwards over the same section of track. It's no surprise that this ride has been copied, as the combination of launches, airtime, and a giant splash make for an absolutely incredible ride. The Vliegende Hollander. Now this is a rather special ride. The Vliegende Hollander, or Flying Dutchman in the common tongue, at the Efteling in Holland is themed after the legendary ghost ship that is doomed to sail the seas forever and never dock. Efteling is world renowned for their theming of their rides, and this one is no exception. It's got a beautiful queue line and station building, and it's also got a unique soundtrack which helps immerse you in the story of the ride. What makes the Vliegende Hollander special, however, is how it combines different elements to make it more of an experience rather than just a roller coaster. Think Pirates of the Caribbean, but with a roller coaster section at the end, and you'll have some idea of what it's like. The ride starts out with you setting sail into pitch darkness, lit only by the lantern at the front of your boat. You then encounter a storm, with rain and lightning, before gradually the bow of the mythical ghost ship, the Vliegende Hollander, appears before you, and you drop beneath it into the underworld. You're then slowly lifted up a hill, before bursting outside into daylight and racing down the track. You plunge through a smoke-filled tunnel and circle back before dropping into the water and making a huge splash, before gently coming back into the ride station. Another interesting thing about this ride is that unlike a lot of water rides, this one actually operates all year round, as long as it's above freezing. Don't worry about getting too wet though, as the park can actually adjust the level of the water so that you can get soaked on a hot day in summer, but stay relatively dry on those icy winter days. The park is open 365 days a year after all. Divertical. Divertical is a very cool name, and it's also a very cool coaster, located at Mirabilandia in Italy. This ride looks very intimidating with its vertical lift that actually tilts you to the side as you go upwards, and after that there's a drop of 50 meters where you skim the water. The rest of the track has some high-speed helixes, but the major thrill of the ride is when you splash down into the water and get absolutely soaked. The design of the train means that you're fairly exposed, with little protection from the water, so be prepared for a drenching when you ride it, especially if you're in the front row or the fourth row. Fortunately, this ride's located in the sunny northeast of Italy, so despite getting soaked, you'll still dry off relatively quickly. The colour scheme is also really quite striking, which adds to the imposing nature of this coaster. This really is one that's certainly not for the faint of heart, but if you're an adrenaline junkie like me, then this is the ride you need to experience. Fjord Explorer. Fjord Explorer at La Palle in France is one of the newest and most beautiful water coasters out there. It opened just last year, and there are a few things that really make it stand out. The park has put so much effort into the theming of the ride, and the whole area around it is designed to look like a Nordic village, with bright coloured buildings forming a beautiful harbour. The coaster itself is rather special too, and it's clear that this is a thoroughly modern design. My favourite part of the ride is the impressively banked turn right next to the lift hill, which feels almost dangerously banked, as you just don't seem to get that kind of element on any sort of other water coaster. Another highlight of the ride is of course the splashdown, which is not just fun but it also creates a beautiful visual as well. Surprisingly though, I didn't actually get all that wet when I rode it, so don't be too scared of riding if you're worried about having wet clothes for the rest of the day. As always with any sort of water ride though, your experience can vary and be very different with the level of soaking you get, so there's no guarantees you won't get wet when you ride this, but it's certainly worth riding. Getting splashed with hopefully clean water is a thrilling part of any theme park trip, but unfortunately many people around the world still don't have access to clean water for basic things like drinking or washing, and that needs to change. If you enjoyed this video or any of the other ones I've made in the past, and you consider buying me a drink if you saw me in a theme park, then please consider donating the cost of that drink to the Team Water campaign instead. I've made my donation, and if you'd like to make yours and join Team Water, then go to teamwater.org, where you can donate and get some really cool merch, or you can use the personal link I put in the description of this video. In regards to that, I'll be doing a live stream at the end of the month, where I'll be building a custom unique water park in Planet Coaster 2, and you can decide what I build. If you donate using the link below, you can request a coaster style, a flume, any kind of ride and more, and even force me to stream the much inferior game Park Beyond if you're feeling particularly mean. You can also just join the live stream to help raise awareness of Team Water, and you'll also get to hear about my latest trip to North America and Canada, riding the best new coasters that opened this year. Now back to the water coasters. Journey to Atlantis. Now this entry actually consists of 2 or maybe 3 coasters that share the same name, although they aren't to be confused with the Aquatracks roller coaster in Seoul, which is also called Atlantis. Journey to Atlantis is definitely a water coaster at both SeaWorld Orlando and SeaWorld San Diego, and depending on how strictly you define what exactly a roller coaster is, then it's also a water coaster at San Antonio, although I'm not going to be opening that whole can of worms in this video. All these rides are themed to a varying degree to the mythical sunken land of Atlantis, and the more detailed versions combine a mixture of a dark ride and roller coaster sections with multiple splashdowns to make an incredible ride. The water coaster in Orlando was actually the first ever water coaster opened by German manufacturer Mack Rides, who pretty much invented this design, and it's proved to be a huge success for them. Also, for a coaster in America, the theming, particularly in Orlando, is actually quite impressive. It features a large-scale facade that the ride actually wraps around that's inspired by the legend of Atlantis, and it looks pretty damn good. The ride in San Diego is also currently being refurbished and is set to return in the near future with a new story, new lighting and new special effects, and I for one can't wait to see what they do with this awesome design for a coaster. Speed. Speed Energylandia in Poland is aptly named as it's currently one of the fastest water coasters in the world, with a top speed of over 62 miles per hour. It achieves this speed with a drop from 50 meters in the air, about 165 feet. The initial splash at the bottom of the drop creates some light misting, but the final drop of the ride is one that will absolutely soak you. It's overall quite similar to Divertical, which I covered earlier in this video, and it shares the same exposed seats and train design, so you do really feel that speed sensation as the ride tears around the track, and you also get completely soaked when it hits the water. Poseidon. Our final awesome water coaster takes us to Germany with the stunning ride Poseidon. This is another coaster designed by Mack Rides, and if you're wondering why it looks so impressive, well, there's a reason for that. It's located at Europa Park, which is owned by the very same Mack family that own the company, so they can use the park to showcase the ultimate versions of their rides, and this has to be one of the longest and most impressive water coasters in the world. Located in the Greek section of the park, this ride is an incredible theming and a sprawling layout featuring multiple coaster sections between splashdowns. It's always a popular ride at the park, and one you should definitely check out. So there we have it, 7 of the best water coasters on the planet. And one final plea from me, not to subscribe or comment, but to make a donation at teamwater.org or via the link I put in the description. If you're watching after the campaign is over, you can still donate to the cause via WaterAid, which I've also included a link to in the description. I'd also love to know which of these coasters is your favourite, and which one you'd most like to ride. Thank you so much for watching, and hopefully donating. I've been Roller Coaster David, and I'll see you again in another video very soon.